Who's your favorite Canadian wrestler?
Jericho.
Jericho.
Or actually Lance Storm,
And Lance
Ah!
Storm was a beast.
He was a problem.
I loved him. I love Lance Storm. He's amazing. He can fly around the ring. He's a
Great.
combination of Bret Hart and Owen Hart,
Yeah,
Hmm.
and a little bit of Jericho.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
Jericho is much more over top,
yeah. Jericho's the top.
Okay, so we ready?
Yep, we're ready.
Yeah,
We're rolling.
we're
Let's
ready.
go.
We're ready.
Let's go.
Oh look, you got a celebration in the back, bro.
I don't know. I just put up two fingers and everything. Yes.
This happens a lot with that. But yeah, it's your boy Gutsy.
It's your boy Vegas.
Lord Fury, Judge and Jury.
Hey man, it's the Man Dem Show, and we got a super special guest, man. Sorry, well, Vegas is kind of a wrestling fan, but not really. But me and Lord Fury, super wrestling fan. You know what I'm saying? This guy here is a one-time cruiserweight champion. He's a one-time TV champion. He's a one-time tag team champion with the guy Disco Inferno. To me, he's a legend. I don't know how other people take it, but he's a legend to me. I've watched this guy. I don't know if he still does it, but I still do the dance every now and then. You know what I'm
Very
saying?
good. Very
Shout
good.
out our guy Alex Wright, man. Thank you for coming and giving us your time on the Man Dem Show. How are you?
Very good. How about you guys? Thank you for having me.
Oh, we're great, man. I can't complain.
Yeah, we're great. I'm good.
Alex Wright, your contribution to wrestling was very much so needed. You fought everybody that went to WWF or WWE and became a star, and you
Yeah,
beat some of them.
Mhm.
yeah,
You beat Triple H's ass.
Oh
yeah,
You
yes.
you pinned him numerous times.
yeah.
You fought with Scott Hall. You fought with Eddie Guerrero. You beat Eddie Guerrero, I believe, a couple of times. I saw on Saturday night,
Mhm.
or draw with him a couple of times. I remember. And like everybody who was a star in WWF, you either wrestled them, beat them, or draw with them, or you had a great, amazing matches with them.
Well, I was lucky to be in WCW at that time. That was the greatest time in wrestling, I think, when they had the Monday Night um, Wars, and all talents from all over the world, the best talents were in WCW
Yep,
at the time.
where the big boys place.
Yeah, exactly.
Talk about that time being in like the Monday Night Wars. You know what I'm saying? Like for us as fans, we seen it, but we never got to experience the behind the scenes of like maybe you guys watching like WWE sometimes, or just
Right, right.
strategizing behind the scenes about storylines and matches. Like, how was that time?
Well, first of all, I want to give you an idea how tough it was on an athlete like being on the show. There was a lot of pressure because WCW had at the end about 250 guys on the contract.
Mm,
So if you calculate how many guys can be on a show, that's just a little percentage of the 250, maybe 40 guys or whatever. So every time you wrestled in front of a huge crowd in the arena, like 15 to 60,000 people. Then in front and at home were like 30 million people watching you perform. Then your boss, Eric Bischoff, was sitting there commentating your match.
Mhm.
And then after the matches, they always looked at your segment and looked how were the ratings. So if the
mm,
ratings were good and stayed good, was good. If they went down a couple times, they just write you out of the show. So for your own spot on the company was very a lot of pressure on yourself to perform, and especially that time when WWE had that big competition with WCW, you needed even to perform much better because they not just compared your segment, they compared also the segment from WWE. So all the guys were we were all excited because the business picked really up. Wrestling had huge, how you say that, got a huge attention. And we watched actually in the back of in the locker room, we had a TV and we were watching live the other company. So we knew okay, those guys did that, and those guys worked their ass off. We need to be better than them. So there was a big competition between WCW and WWE. On the other hand, of course, was really good because you had that time you had a lot of leverage in negotiations about your contracts, getting more money and stuff like that, because you could say, hey, listen, if you don't pay me, I go to the other company. So really good for the other guys, for the guys. And yeah, actually, it's the best time of my life, and I was lucky to be right in that time with WCW.
Was there somebody that you wanted to jump ship? Like you were looking at WWE, like, man, if you came over here, like we would have some great matches.
Yeah, well, I always had in my back of my mind that I one day gonna go to WWE, but I'm very loyal, and I was very grateful to receive the chance from WCW and from Eric Bischoff. I was only 18 years old when I started with WCW, so that
Yep.
was a big deal for me anyway. Yeah, and I moved by myself was at the age of 18 to the States, and living that life, being a pro wrestler. It wasn't about the money for me. It's just being a pro wrestler. I mean, I'm a second generation wrestler. My dad wrestled for 26 years all over the world. My uncle wrestled all over the world, and
Whoa.
it's about the lifestyle for me. I mean, it's good to make money, to get fame and all that stuff, but for me, it was the most important thing to be able to step in the ring every night, perform in front of a crowd, make them happy, and experience that life and travel the world, meeting people, meeting other wrestlers, working great wrestlers like Eddie, Dean, Jericho, Lance Storm, Finlay, and all those guys I worked, or Arn Anderson, Ric Flair. That gave me so much, and that's the reason why I wanted to be loyal to that company. I mean, I was approached, through different channels. Hey, don't you want to come and join us up there? And maybe I would have had a better run in WWE because, WWE still is the company which made stars, and WCW always bought the stars. That's the difference between WWE
Yep.
and WCW. I mean, a few guys they build up like in WCW the Giant or Bill Goldberg. They really had a few, but not like WWE. WWE created much more stars. So I always thought, well, after my run in WCW, I will move up to WWE. But then, like everybody knows, WCW was sold to WWE, and I still had 2 years left on my contract, and the buyout wasn't a good deal for me. So I said, well, I sit out my contract. I was directly I had a contract with Time Warner. Very few guys had a contract with Time Warner. And so I set out the deal.
That
Wow.
was smart.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that was a
but
lot of you guys at the time too, right? Well, not a lot, but there was like, I want to say, the kind of special guys that just had something there because you guys never went over when they got bought out, and some of the guys did, but some of the guys just sat home and just were like, hey, we'll get paid and we'll see what happens
yeah,
if we can get a better
well,
deal.
I think there are many different reasons why maybe some guys took the buyout and some others didn't. It, like I said before, it was never about the money and not about the fame for me. So I wasn't like, oh, I shit on all that money and I just go up there or whatever. I knew my body and my mental state needed a break because I was there from 1994 till the end. And some years I traveled 350 days, sometimes 7 matches a day. So I was really
God
tough on my body.
damn.
And at the end of WCW, the backstage politics were really huge, and it was really bad time there, and I lost my passion for the wrestling at that time, and so I said I needed a break. I can't step in the ring for a while now, and I moved back to Germany, and actually it was better because all the guys that went to WWE, they were just used to build up their own WWE.
Yeah.
These
You know,
guys, yeah, they
like
didn't use them
a
properly.
trend somewhere. Just a few WCW guys made it in WWE actually, and it was good for
Yeah.
them. So I didn't want to go in that pool of sharks and have to fight over my spot again and stuff like that. So not especially at that time. So I went back to Germany, and WWE approached me twice and said, "Hey, listen, why don't you come to us and stuff?" But I said, "Hey, no, I don't feel it. I can't give 100% for the promotion. I can't give 100% for the fans, and I can't give 100% for myself. So I'm very honored and very grateful, but no, thank you, not at this time." So
That was smart. You kept your legacy the way it was and
Yeah.
didn't make it go down. Because they could
Yeah.
have really ruined you.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're right.
Try to put you in a dress or some stupid crap.
Yeah,
You know?
well,
Give me stink
I
faces.
tell you what, I wouldn't have done that anyway.
I know you. No, you're 100%. You are 100% man. Okay, you're not doing that, and you're German. You're definitely not doing that.
Exactly. No, I'm a man. I'm a pro, but there's certain things I wouldn't do in the business.
No, you can't.
One time they asked me to fight against a woman, and I said no. I was brought up the different way by my dad. I don't hit a woman. I can't do that. That's not me. I mean, nowadays it's different because nowadays it's more established and there are equal competitioners to the males.
Mm-hmm.
But those days, I think that wouldn't be good for being on TV and kids watching how I beat some lady.
No, not 6 foot plus.
Yeah,
Athletic. No, that wouldn't look good. It wouldn't look good. With a high drop kick. No, don't do it. You'll kill her. You would definitely kill her.
You said you lost your passion, right? For at the end of it. And there's been videos like for years about who killed WCW. Was it Hogan, Bischoff, or Russo? In your opinion, who was the true downfall of WCW?
Well, I'm certain there are many reasons for it, not just only one. But in my opinion, a big deal for that fault is Vince Russo. Just my opinion. Nothing against him personal. I think the booking was wrong. What he did, he was booking the show like for WWE, but WCW had a totally different audience, and he gave out orders in the locker room, which, yeah, well, you could tell that Vince Russo had no idea about ring psychology and stuff like that. So that made our product bad. And if you give the most prestigious belt, the WCW World Heavyweight title, to an actor, that doesn't make it better.
I was so mad.
Yeah, I was pissed.
I was pissed when I thought I was like, oh my god.
Every guy was pissed. I mean, he wasn't very popular in the locker room.
I bet.
He might have been a plant sent there to bury WCW.
Well, that's the theory. Could be. Who knows? It's long past. I mean, like I said, nothing personal, but I think if a different guy would have booked WCW at that time, WCW would have been still around.
Yeah, definitely.
You ask. Go for it. Go.
Was Vince Russo responsible for the Berlin?
No, he was for the end of Berlin.
The end of Berlin. Okay. Yeah.
Because I started that gimmick was under Eric Bischoff, and Vince Russo apparently didn't want to use any gimmicks from Bischoff, which he brought up. Because actually it started very good, for the gimmick Berlin.
It was good. You were undefeated, and you were killing people. It looked good.
Well, it had a lot of potential, but yeah. I should have saved it for WWE. Definitely.
Yeah, if you had came as Berlin in WWE, that would have been something.
Mm-hmm.
So is there any truth that there was, because of the Columbine shooting or something, why they didn't potentially use that character a lot?
No. The only thing what's true is that they postponed the debut. I mean, I was supposed to debut right when that happened, and they said, okay, now because that happened, we're gonna wait 2-3 months down the road. We're gonna put you on TV. That's the only thing.
Got it. Got you. Take me back again. Your father was a wrestler, right?
Right.
Huge wrestling guy. So growing up, what else were you into? Like, was there something other than wrestling or sports that you were into? Like, we're Toronto guys from
Right,
Canada, right? Like, what
right, right.
was it like growing up in Germany for like a guy like you?
Okay. Well, I did a lot of sports. I did weightlifting competitions. I did
Mm.
swimming competitions. I did amateur wrestling many, many years. I did submission wrestling in many, many years. But everything I did it only for my goal to be a pro wrestler and be able to one day move to the States and wrestle there. At the age of about 8, I always said to my parents, hey, listen, one day I'm going to go to the States and I want to wrestle there. That was my goal. So everything I did, I mean, I did a lot of partying, in Germany. And I mean, it's different than in the States. I don't know how it is in Canada, but in Germany, we are an adult at the age of 18. So we start partying at the age of 14 or whatever. You know, I mean, in those days you actually could buy beer and all that stuff at that age. I
Oh,
really partied that in that age. And with 15 I went to the dance clubs and stuff like that. And that's where I actually created that dance to get the girls.
Wow.
I don't know what you guys listen to, what kind of music, but in Germany at that time it was very popular to listen to techno and stuff like that. That was my
I love techno, by the way. I love techno
very,
house. I
very,
love that.
very good. It's a good music to party.
Oh
Yeah.
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 Um, so that's where I created the dance, and yeah,
So hold on. You created this dance, right?
right.
Like, take me back. Like, was there steps? Like, did you start with the hand movement first? Was it the leg motion? Like, what came first? Like, and did it get you the girls?
Well, I can say definitely yes at the at the last question. but, but all the other stuff you asked me, amen. I'm gonna turn in May 50, so that's 34 years ago.
Whoa.
You are young. Oh
Oh,
man.
yeah, you're right. I'm not young.
Honestly, God, kudos,
Anyway,
man.
uh, yeah, it was a lot of fun being in the dance clubs and doing that dance. Of course, we tried at home, in front of a mirror and stuff like that. But how it exactly happened, I have no idea. But I met that time.
Yeah.
I was engaged when I was like 18 before I went to the States.
Oh.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm still together with my wife, guys.
Oh,
32.
Amazing.
congratulations. That's
Yeah.
real love right
You
there.
you
Well,
keep that bloodline going, brother.
that's it's. I mean, a lot of people are very long together in their relationship, but being in the business, being that long in a relationship, that's
That's
tough.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's
That
Yeah.
is.
amazing.
That is.
Kudos to you, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank
You
you.
made it.
And really quick, how long did it take you to teach Tokyo Magnum that dance?
Actually, he was a talent, man. He was really good. You know, I always thought maybe he practiced in Japan before he met me, and he watched always my videos or stuff like that. Oh, he was a talent. He was a good guy.
Yeah, man, that was dope. That was dope. Also, too, because you mentioned the Big Show
Mhm.
on Paul Wright. You were actually at his debut. I was watching WCW on live, and they were showing his debut, and you were one of the guys that came out to try and attack him.
Yeah, yeah. I've been there with all the guys who had their debut in WCW. I mean, Chris Jericho had his first match in WCW against me. AJ
Wow.
Styles had his first match against me in WCW. Sabu had his first match in WCW against me. I mean, there were many guys, Billy Kidman and stuff. I mean, a lot of guys had their first matches, or I was there involved. Yeah.
Were you considered
Wow.
like the workhorseman, like the guy, like, hey, let's put these guys with Alex Wright so we can kind of see if they can go in the ring, if they're talented, if they can get something out of the crowd. Were you that guy?
Well, I think I'm the wrong guy to ask. You should ask one of the bookers those
Because
days. I wouldn't say. It was sometimes a little weird, yeah, because I always had to work mostly the new guys, yeah.
Mm.
I have
Oh,
a question. I have a question. In your career, like who was the wrestler that you wanted to wrestle the most that you didn't get a chance to? Obviously.
The Rock,
mm,
and Shawn Michaels.
mm.
Robin, good.
And who else? The Rock, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker. I would love to work him. Yeah, I would.
Berlin against Undertaker would have been amazing.
Oh, Berlin against American Badass.
Yeah,
Very.
American Badass. That would have been it right there.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That would have been good.
But I can't complain. I worked so many other great guys, so I'm very satisfied with who I've been able
Yeah.
to work. So many great workers.
You fought Flair. You fought Arn Anderson. You fought Paul Orndorff. You beat Paul Roma. You beat up. I seen you fight everybody.
He's won
When you
he actually
came in,
won the TV title from Arn Anderson, no?
No, was supposed to get the TV title that night, but then somebody else. What was his name? He looked like the Warrior.
Renegade.
Renegade, and he got then that spot. That was backstage politics, but who cares? I worked Triple H many times. I mean, Jean Paul Levesque, Stone Cold. I worked many times.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of nasty
I
boys.
remember those matches. And you were young when you fought those guys.
Yeah, Harlem Heat and stuff. Yeah, it was always fun.
There's also two wrestlers RIP that you got to get in the ring with. Or one RIP to Eddie Guerrero and two Chris Benoit.
Mhm.
Obviously we all know about Chris Benoit's situation, horrific situation, and me and Vegas like to talk about it all the time. If we'll ever get to a place, because even in music, what is it again? Vegas will differentiate the artist from the person, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And obviously Chris Benoit's career, like in ring, we see it now. Like almost everybody wrestles like him, the energy, the fierceness, but it's like the tragicness and the horrificness of what he did. Do you think that the wrestling world will ever come to a day where it's just like they'll look past that and will kind of accept what he did in the ring? Or
No,
do you feel like no, it's
no, I don't think they will look past that. Nobody will look past that. It's just too horrific what happened. I mean, I knew Benoit. I mean, I started in CWA, which is Catch Wrestling Association here in Germany. It was the biggest German Austrian company. Just to get an idea, they sold out the arena in Bremen. It holds about 12 to 15,000 spectators, and without having TV. So it was a very big company, and Benoit wrestled for that company also. And I met him when I was like 8 years old at that time. And he always performed in the ring very, very good. I mean, he was an outstanding talent. But yeah, that what happened was just horrific at the end.
Yeah. Very sad.
yeah,
Yeah.
It is.
He
Okay,
needed
so
help. He needed help.
Yeah, he needed help. Yeah.
His painkillers can make your brain do things that you don't want to do.
Well, the bad thing in the business is that pro wrestling is different than all the other pro sports. Like in NBA, NFL, and all those sports, you have a whole team around you, and they look always after you. Mentally and body wise. You have a lot of physicians and psychologists and also all that stuff. As a wrestler, you're always by yourself.
Yeah.
And you wrestle the whole year. I mean, there's no time off like in like seasons or whatever where you have a half year off or stuff like that. No, you have to wrestle all the time. So it's tough on the body, and it's mentally tough because relationships, families, and stuff like that. Friends and all that stuff. You have no social life basically. Your family is the guys on the road basically. So and men don't talk about their problems.
Yeah. You're right.
And so they always keep all the shit by themselves. So I think that's a big problem in the sport.
Hold on. Okay,
right.
yeah, I want to switch a tone. You guys are done with all that dark stuff?
yeah.
Okay.
We're good after dark.
I want to show you something, and I want to ask you a question. So I'm gonna show you this right here. Let me know, like, let's watch it. Let's watch it. Hey. Now I'm a huge gamer, so I want to know: do you have like any say in the way how you're portrayed in these video games? Like, like the move set. Obviously the entrance. Like, I did read somewhere that you did work on some WCW games, but let me know like detailed insight on how that works as like a pro athlete, even.
When they put me on a game.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, the games I was on it, you had to be at the power plant the whole day, and the company which produced the game, they filmed you the whole day, and you had to do like 1,000 drop kicks, 1,000 times dancing. That was the easy part. But if you have to do 1,000 times a German suplex, a bridging German suplex, that's not easy, the whole day. So that was tough, but that was the easiest money I ever made. Every 2 3 weeks or whatever, you went to the post thing and you got received the check. So that
Yeah.
was you on the game. No, but yeah, on the old games, I definitely think they protect me. Sorry, English is hard for me. I haven't talked English for a long time, so sometimes my words are missing. Okay,
It's
but anyway,
okay.
they put me on pretty good on the game. Yeah, I
Okay.
only have 2 more games right now. They're supposed to be released this year sometime.
Like, are like WWE games, independent
Oh,
wrestling games?
yeah, indie games.
Oh fuck!
Oh, oh.
I can't wait to see
Yeah,
that.
that's really
Has there
sick.
has there been any games that have been released under the WCW moniker that portrayed you and you're like, nah, that ain't right. Like, I don't like what they did.
Not really, no. I mean,
Okay.
it's those times like 20 years ago, they didn't have the abilities like nowadays, not the technique or stuff like that.
No, I would love to see you in a modern game still. They better do like some sort of WCW nostalgia updated game from Ukes or something. I don't know. But they better do something
What they could do is WCW versus WWE.
like a
Ooh,
Like
like
a
a
game,
like
yeah, like, and they can rehash some of the Monday Night
ooh.
Wars storylines. Like, I don't know why they don't do it. Like,
cost
Yeah,
too much money because you have to pay all those guys.
well,
And
and then I see the roster already is kind of heavy.
or they want to kill the memory.
Yeah, that's really what it is. They don't
Yeah,
want to give. They never wanted to give WCW that
that
grace
is,
of
yeah,
saying that it was the better product in ring.
yeah.
yeah, that's true.
What was your? Oh, sorry. Continue.
WCW was the better product for many years, better than WWE, WWF, or WWE, because the wrestling was relentless. The storylines were good, the clicks were good, and the amount of if you look at maneuvering like the Steiner brothers, the Alex Wright, Eddie Guerrero, Stone Cold, well, Stunning Steve Austin, the Flying Brian Pillman. He had a lot of wrestlers that were wrestling. Chris Jericho,
The horse.
a lot of debuts of people. WCW was a better wrestling watch than WWF. WWF is more the Godwins
Yeah.
doing
Yeah. And
The gimmicks. The gimmicks.
Bastion Booger, like stuff they shouldn't be doing. They were doing.
well,
WC
I think WWE or WF at that time was actually still as good as WCW. Just or let me put it other way. They had the athletes, the same talented wrestlers over there. Just they weren't allowed to perform like we were allowed in WCW
yes,
form. I think that's the difference. And they booked it differently, and they had more promos and interviews and all that stuff, and that made it, in my opinion, more boring. Because
yeah,
as a fan, I want to see in-ring action, not 15 minutes talk and 5 minutes action. So that I think that was the main difference. But you're right, there were a lot of great technical and power wrestlers in WCW.
oh yeah.
That's different.
That's what's up.
Was there like a match in WCW like that you liked or stand out? It could have been like foolish because WCW had like some of the craziest matches where they were putting Buff Bagwell's mom on a pole or on the stretcher thing or putting people in cages. They had like what the 3 cages of doom. Like they had so many crazy matches. Did you have one that kind of stood out that you're like, this is foolish, but it's kind of entertaining?
I definitely enjoyed when they had those 3 rings and those 60 wrestlers. I don't want to say the word now because nowadays in the political situation, makes me feel bad somehow. But you know what I'm talking about? That pay-per-view with the 3 rings.
Yes.
And that was very interesting, let's say. So many guys in the ring.
Right?
That was good.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite ones too. And I believe at one point they started putting the cage. I don't know if it was the 3, but I know at 2 of them they had the cage over it at some
War
point.
Games.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he didn't want to say the name.
Oh, I forgot. Sorry. Yep.
Well, if
But
he
yeah,
said it, so
he
did.
said it, so we're good. But yeah,
Yeah.
War Games. They put the cage over it and stuff. But yeah, the 3 rings, that seemed fun. It seemed interesting that you could play around and do different kind of moves and spots. Like I like the 3 rings too.
Well, I think it was also very nice for the fan, to see all the different wrestlers coming through the curtain who's part of that big match,
True.
Hold on, I got one more question actually. So you said you were there from WCW from the beginning to the end. How did you feel about Invasion then? Like, what was your personal take on Invasion when WWF or WWE
He wasn't a part of that.
Oh, you weren't a part of Invasion?
No, because what happened was before they. Well, I don't know if he wants to explain it. Yeah.
No.
Oh, I think I remember because they bought it out and everybody from the roster didn't want to port over, so they stayed away.
But
Right? That's what happened.
They didn't have to.
Oh. Okay. Well, still, what's your take on Invasion? Even though now that I would love to know your thoughts on it after just watching it. No, he wasn't in it, but he has you have an opinion, right? Or maybe not.
But it wasn't good for the guys at no point. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody had high hopes to go and get featured in WWE or whatever, but it never happened.
Even if it was, the problem too is they didn't have the guys. Like they didn't have Scott Hall, they didn't have Hogan over there. Like the main WC Sting, I don't think Flair went over right away. Like the main guys that built up WCW weren't in the Invasion.
No.
So it's like you had Booker T, cool, but I think that was really it. Like everybody else was more from ECW per se. Like,
Right.
yeah, it was definitely a miss situation.
Well, it didn't help the WCW guys. Let's say that.
No.
Yeah.
It destroyed their career because when I saw Sean O'Hare and Chuck Palumbo fight the APA, and that was brutal.
Yeah. What is Sean O'Hare? No, Sean O'Hare died for a couple of years ago, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah.
He was. Oh my god.
He was underrated, man.
Yeah.
The group that they were in, there was like maybe 3 or 4 of them. It was, I believe, it was Mark Jindrak, maybe Sean O'Hare, and somebody else. I can't remember. Hold on. But that group was a problem. By the way.
Johnny the Bull was Johnny the Bull.
It might have been Johnny
the Bull. Yep, and Vito.
Vito, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very talented.
But they weren't seasoned enough to do any damage towards WWE.
There were too many old stars in WCW. There was no time for the young guys.
Exactly.
That was a big problem in WCW that they didn't feature the young guys enough.
And that faction was Natural Born Thrillers.
Natural Born Thrillers.
I mean, if you plan smart and runs your company smart and with a vision for the future, you need to build up at some point the young stars.
Yeah.
You have to use the old stars for that, but they never did stuff like that. I mean, I run my own company and I always New European Championship Wrestling here in Germany, and I always build up new guys which don't have a name. If they eager to perform and their performance is always at top level, why shouldn't I give him a push? Just the other guy is 10 years in the business and he doesn't want to do shit anymore in the ring. So I say, hey, listen, this guy, he's hungry. He wants to have good matches.
Right.
And that's dope that you're starting your own wrestling school or promotion, because like we've seen pretty much everywhere. I mean, Canada's had its gems, New Japan had its time, you know, Mexico, everywhere's getting their odds. Do you think like in the next couple of years, like we're gonna come to Germany for like all the hottest new acts?
Well, that would be great, but I doubt it.
No,
Well,
why do you doubt it? Come on, why you don't see it happening? We have Ludwig right now. I believe he's from out there.
yeah, but we it could happen if you have a guy who's a lot of money and he wants to really invest in the sport, like AW, has Tony Khan. If you
Mm,
have a guy in Germany like that, then definitely it could work because we have a lot of great workers over here. Not only in Germany, all of Europe, there are really good talents over here, but the money is missing. The big money where you can push that product because there's a lot of money to make in Europe. It's a good
mm.
market. But so far, you know, sports like soccer and stuff like that, they have the main attention over here.
But
So,
hold
sorry,
on.
Gutsy. Hold on, sorry, Gutsy.
Okay.
So you're saying like, I guess the WWE never contacted you for a contract and maybe take a look at some of the wrestlers you're developing at all, like
Oh
at
yeah,
all?
yeah.
Okay.
I was in contact with all of them all the time. One of my guys wrestles for or used to wrestle till 2 weeks ago for WWE.
Okay.
A former student. His real name is Fabian Eichner, and his gimmick.
Oh, he was a part of Imperium.
Exactly. That is a student of mine. I trained him. Yeah.
Wow.
Giovanni Vinci.
Giovanni Vinci. Yeah.
Oh no, he was. Oh, why did they break up Imperium?
I have no idea, but anyway, yeah, used to. I trained him a lot, many years, and he wrestled for my company also. He's really a great worker, and they never let him really show what he can do. I mean, he's much better than that what you have seen on TV so far from him.
Oh man.
Do you think that he like again going back to my question, but do you think that would be a German top guy? Because we've never seen like we've seen guys from again all these other different places around the world that been top guys, right? Or at least they tried to push as a top guy. Do you think like maybe Giovanni might go to like a TNA or AEW and get a top guy situation, or even Ludwig Kaiser, who I think like he has something. Like maybe if WWE sees it and they give him a chance, do you think like they'll start looking out to Germany as in, yeah, this is where all the stars are?
No, I doubt that
No.
because they always see the US market as the main market, and there's not only they're not only looking at the talent and at the performance. They just that's political, just business thinking, and they're always going to push an American guy before a foreigner. That most of the time.
Most of the time, yeah. You're
Yeah, I
right.
mean, if Ludwig Kaiser would be maybe 50 pounds heavier, then yes, probably. Then he would maybe, but not in that weight class. I doubt it. No. Because WWE always likes big and heavy guys. The bigger and
Yeah.
better, usually.
It's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is there somebody nowadays that you see from any of these like AEW, TNA, New Japan, WWE? Is there anybody now that usually I would want to go in the ring with them?
Not really, because I'm 50.
Well, if you weren't 50 in your prime days, when you were still busting out the dance, would there be somebody that you would want to tango with?
There's a lot of guys out there that I think that nowadays there's much more better athletes than in my time. I mean, they have a lot now. Back in my time, there were a few always which stood out, and nowadays there's a lot of guys who can do a lot of crazy stuff out there.
Yeah, it's true.
But it doesn't mean that they're the perfect total package, the total wrestler, because as a wrestler it's not only important to do crazy high spots and crazy moves. You always have to connect. That's the most important thing, to connect to the fan
Mm.
at an emotional level. And if you're not able to do that, then the fans say, well, you're a crazy guy. They say you're a great spot wrestler, but you're not my hero or whatever.
Yeah. The in-ring storytelling is everything.
Psychology, yes, that's very good.
Mm.
Very important, yeah.
What did you think about Norman Smiley?
Really fun guy, great worker. The wiggle,
The wiggle, the big wiggle.
the big wiggle. A really nice guy to have in the locker room. That's very important to be around guys that very positive and good guys. Yeah, fun guy. I
Yep,
always, I always enjoyed working him.
I know. I
Nice.
remember he was the dancing that you guys had was amazing, top level, very entertaining.
Yeah, we should have a dance of me, him, and Disco.
Yeah,
That's cool, right?
Ooh, that'd be dope.
That together. All right, how's your relationship with Disco Inferno? I don't know his real name, but like, you still talk to him? You guys still?
Yeah, once in a while we talk. Yeah, no, I have a good. Actually, I have good relations to almost everybody in the business from back in my day.
That's beautiful.
I still talk to Chavo Guerrero and Kidman and um, Scotty Riggs and all those guys, DDP, Mark Marrow, and a lot of guys.
That's beautiful.
I said Mark
But
Merrill.
as a wrestler, you don't have to talk every day to have a good relationship. It's like in the business. One time you wrestle for that guy, and in 2 months you see the other guy. So it's fine. We just pick up from that moment which we left.
Yeah.
I forgot that you and Johnny B. Bad would team up to fight against Bunkhouse Buck and
Mm,
Steve Austin.
yeah,
I forgot. As soon as you mentioned Mark Merrill, I was like, hold on, wait a minute. They used to fight with those guys.
yeah. Mark is a very, very good friend of mine. He helped me a lot when I came to the States because at the age of 18 I wasn't even able to rent a car or stuff like that,
Mm.
and he helped me really out. He's like my big brother over there.
Yeah, man. He's very athletic too. People
Yeah,
don't talk about him. He's an athlete from hell. He's like he
yeah,
can fly around the ring.
yeah. Great physique, great, but a great positive mind, just like
Yeah,
DDP.
yeah.
Those are
Mm.
guys that are very, really positive, and they are always focused on their goals, and they never quit, and always positive.
That's
Very good
dope.
people to be around.
It's very dope.
Yo, what was that problem with you and Paul Roma?
Well,
Like, what caused that?
I had no problem.
He had no problem.
You had a problem.
Yeah, he had a problem. Like, I mean,
Well, but looking backwards, yeah. Well, on the day of the pay per view after the match, of course, it was really I didn't feel good because the match didn't went the way we planned and all that stuff. Um, but looking back, he was he had problems with issues with the office beforehand, and that was just the last thing what happened that he has to take the fall against me, and he wasn't angry at me, he was angry at the office, but I was the guy who received his anger, so that was
Mm.
not very professional from him. But since the day I talked to him and everything is cool and fine, and I'm not mad or whatever. It's just sad because I knew we're gonna had probably the best match of the night
yeah.
working together, because my first match actually for WCW was in Germany when they had a German tour, and I wrestled Paul that night, my first match for WCW, and it was really, really good. And that was one of the reasons why Ric Flair, who was the booker, he said, "Hey, listen, kid, do you want to finish the tour with us? Because one guy is injured." And so I knew we could have a good match, but yeah, he didn't. Yeah, I don't know what was in his mind that night.
But you pinned him many times before that.
Yeah, and afterwards also, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't
He went
Yeah,
into business. He went into his own business that night.
yeah, he didn't understood the business that night, because his decision to act that way wasn't good for us too. It wasn't good for the match. It wasn't good for the fans, and it wasn't good for the company. And most important, it wasn't good for himself, because after that he lost his job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
He literally
And
got
Don't
fired
think so.
after the match, right? Like, after the match, they fired him. No.
No, no, not right away. Because he was a great talent. He looked great. He could have went a long way in the business, but yeah, no, he in those days after a pay-per-view match, you had to be on the road against that opponent for another 4 to 6 weeks. I wrestled him every night after that.
Wow.
Oh my
But
god.
that wasn't fun. That was just, yeah, it was not a very exciting time to be wrestling. But every bad experience in life, you learn from it, and you get stronger from it. And I learned from it at the age of 18. That's fine.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm glad you overcame that because
Yeah, that's well, I never had a problem. The thing is, I didn't want to lose my job because I was brought into business to be respectful. My dad is old school, and he said, "Hey, listen, you have to have respect from the business. You have to have respect for the veterans and for your trainers, and you have to have respect for the fans because without fans, we don't have to step in the ring. It makes no fun. You make no money." And just being in WCW was great for me. And everybody was much older than I am. I mean, I was 18. Most of the guys were like 30 and up. So they're all veterans to me. They're all stars. So I just wanted to do a good job and have a good match. And veteran and of course Paul is a veteran to me. And it, we had something planned, and he in the match he totally switched it around, and I didn't know how to act because I didn't want to lose my job. Be respectful. So after the match, the office came to me and said, "Hey, what happened?" And I explained it, and they said, "Okay, if that ever happens again in the future, you have to take care of yourself." And then I knew, okay, it's okay to make sure you look good and the match looks good. And from that moment on, I just, worked the matches in WCW like I worked my matches beforehand in other companies because like I said before, I did amateur wrestling, many fights. I did submission wrestling. It's not about not taking care of myself. I just wasn't sure if I'm allowed to hold against it in that situation without, losing my job. So that's the whole thing. But it's long ago, and I'm totally fine with that what happened.
I'm glad because yeah, you're a real good sport.
Yeah, man.
Well, it's important.
Yeah, you got the positive attitude. You have a positive attitude, just like Mark Merrill one time and DDP.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I never heard any wrestler speak bad about you. You know that?
Well,
facts.
that's very nice to hear. Yeah, very nice.
Um, we just recently seen that Lex Luger, he's going into the WWE Hall of Fame, right? And it seems like it means a lot to him, and obviously because he's lost a lot. He's like, some people wrestling has been good too. I feel like him on the other side, it hasn't been the greatest. With you now, is that something that's there for you? Like, are you like, hey, WWE, if you want to call me up or give me like the WCW side of a Hall of Fame or something, like,
Okay. Well, of course, it's nice to receive something like that, but it's not in my life a must have. If I, there's much more important things in life than, since I grew up in that sport, it was never about the money for me, never about the fame. It's just about the
mm,
lifestyle. Okay, living that life. And, um, and now in my age now, it's much more important to be healthy, to be doing what I love. I'm still around in the business. I train a lot of young people. I put on shows, um, and being happy in life. That's what's important. Not really how many belts I have on my wall or if I'm in a Hall of Fame or whatever. I mean, of course, if they would approach me, I would be very honored, and I wouldn't say no. But and it would be nice, but it's not so important for me.
so that, but if they do induct you, Disco Inferno's got to be the inductee, right? He's got to be the one inducting you in, right?
Only if you do his dance. When you no,
Um, really quick too. Well, this is my last question. You were never at the WWE PC, like the Performance Center. You were never there before.
yeah, I've been there.
You,
I was a guest trainer there.
yeah.
Oh.
Didn't I tell you that, Vegas? Because I'm like, I was trying to look back to see because I remember watching when WC or WWE had like the PC channel itself. And I'm like, I could have sworn I seen you in one of the videos, but like I don't know what happened if they
Yeah,
put
yeah.
the
No, I was there as a guest trainer at that time. Yeah, it's
okay.
a great facility. I mean, it's a good place to learn. I mean, Norman Smiley is one of the trainers, coaches.
Mhm.
No, it's good.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I like Norman Smiley.
yeah, very nice guy. That's very,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, very.
Um so before we go, does anybody else have any questions before we talk about this new European Championship wrestling?
Yeah.
How,
Any
how,
questions?
I'm good.
how did that get started?
New European Championship Wrestling?
Yeah.
My company? Yeah. Well, the thing is, um, yeah, since I decided to stay in Germany because I started my wrestling school and it's still running very well. I mean, I'm booked 1 year and ahead. I mean, there's a lot of students. I thought to myself, well, I had to deal with a lot of shit and bullshit in the business when I started out.
Hmm.
So I thought, why don't I give my students, which I trained from being a nobody to being a good rookie, why don't I give them a chance to step in a company where it's a safe environment where I can still teach them, where there's no backstage politics because I hate backstage politics. For me, it's if somebody is honest, loyal, and he works hard and his performance is good, that's for me much more important than anything else. So I gave those students the chance to um, um, yeah, to have their first steps and their debut in my company, and many of them are now all over Europe champions.
That's dope.
Wow.
That's dope.
So
And
that's
is
what I want.
Amazing.
I'm sorry, continue.
Yeah, I wanted to, like I said before, a safe environment for the students. So there's just one person talking in their ear, and that's my voice. They can trust me. There's no bullshit behind it, and yeah, I think they were very happy to have that chance, and I still do that. I mean, now I this next show coming up, half of the card is my former students, which are all champions and all kind of promotions, and the other half of the card is new students from my wrestling school.
That's
So
proper.
That's
that's
blessed.
yeah.
So
I mean, I've been having the school 17 years now here in Germany, so a lot of guys who are performing right now in the business over here are coming from my school.
so
It's
I
really
want to
dope.
go
Mm.
out of my way to say like you probably prefer to be a coach slash teacher than an actual booker, right?
Yeah, in my promotion, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have to be a booker because you know how it is.
Yeah.
Some people can't cope with being famous or getting a belt. They get,
Mhm.
oh, I have to tell them, hey, listen, you're still the same guy. A belt, it's sports entertainment. Actually, you have to be thankful to the guy who laid down for you. So
How many title belts do you have in your promotion? Because I know that's a problem with AEW. AEW's got like 15 titles. We can't keep up with how many titles they have. How many title belts
I
do you
have
have?
three. I have the heavyweight title, then I have the tag team title, and then I have a internet world title.
Mm.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
That's smart.
Yeah, because if you have too many title doesn't mean anything anymore.
Exactly.
Hmm. Yep.
So
It's too much.
Maybe AEW needs to hire you. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
saying
maybe you need to be a promoter, bro. Go to AEW and fix that
right
up,
for
cause
a little bit. I don't
that's
know.
AEW.
Do you watch AEW by any chance? Do you
yes,
keep up with what's going on?
yes.
What's something that you would change and just with you, like what you see over there with them? What's something that you would do that you feel like would fix the problems that they're having?
Well, I don't know what kind of problems they have, but the shows what I watch, and that's just only my opinion, is they have a lot of great performer and athletes over there. I mean, it's unbelievable what kind of stuff they can do, what kind of moves and high risk moves and stuff like that. But if you work that kind of style where you have like five super kicks and you get up, then you have your Canadian destroyer and you get up afterwards. There's no psychology behind it anymore, and the fans in the arena, they may they don't watch that match anymore because it's a wrestling match. They just watch it like it's a performance of like an like an athlete from the Olympics. You know, wow, he can do that and he
Mm.
can do that. But there's not that emotion really. They a lot of fans just watch then that match just before. Oh, is there another spot gonna kill himself now, or does he kill himself in the next moment? And where do those workers want to go? I mean, if you do a 450 from a ladder, what's the next? You can't top that anymore. You know, so
Mm.
you need to make everything else. You have to tone it down again and put more ring psychology in there a little bit. You know, that then it's easier for the workers also. Then everything else means much more than a super kick that people go, wow, on a super kick instead of, oh, there's a super kick, here's a super kick, and they go, "Ooh, it's too much."
Okay. So you're saying like there's just they're not building emotion. It's just
No, no, I wouldn't say that, but
oh,
they don't put they build emotions for the AEW fan base or part of the fan base, and for those percentage in the arena. But if you want to reach new fans which are not into that wrestling so hard, if you have a regular person which getting the first time in touch with wrestling and he's watching that product, and he man like everybody else, he says, well, he gets a kick in his on his head and he gets up right away, and another, and then he does that. That is just stupid, and it's just, so
yeah.
you're gonna lose all those new maybe spectators and fans which you could have. That's the problem what I see in that. If you
Okay.
if you can still do those spots, but not kill every finisher after finisher. I wouldn't do that. It's just my opinion. I mean, the time changed since I was in the ring, but less is sometimes more than a lot of stuff.
I,
That's
I think you're right though, because it's also like you said, it's the AEW fans, right? The AEW fans are more into the indie per se style of wrestling, where it's like
right,
thumbtacks on the shoes,
right,
Spanish flies off the top of the cages and stuff like that, and it's like cool. But if you look over at WWE, Roman Reigns could have a regular match with his cousin, and it's just the storytelling. It's the
exactly. And they get
inside the ring, and it'll grab you, and it'll have you on the edge of your seat, like, yo, what's gonna
exactly.
happen next?
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So if they want to really expand more and get the regular fans, then they need to switch around. I mean, half of their show, the matches are that like they have rings psychology and stuff, but a few matches sometimes if they maybe switch it around instead of having them spot matches after spot match after spot match, it's not good. They should switch it around, then spot match, and then have a regular match with ring psychology, and then switch it around like that, and then it makes maybe it's better for the regular fan, I think.
Okay.
That's just my opinion.
I like that.
That's good. Me too.
Great opinion.
I got two more questions and I'm done.
Like
Okay.
you said, one question, three questions ago.
But I'm gonna get back to his wrestling company, but going, well, I guess it's technically three. What's the bump that you didn't like to take the most? Like you were just like, yo, I hated taking this move. And which move like looked really bad to take, but it was like it didn't really hurt that much.
Okay. Okay, one time Kevin Nash gave me a power bomb from the stage, and I was about 12 foot, maybe 15 foot high. And I thought to myself, wow, fuck. I mean, that's a lot of way down. But the thing where I landed on, it was like, what's it called in English? Like, when you order something and it gets in the package. How you call that thing?
Like a
I know.
like a pallet or like
Yeah,
a
I know what he's
No,
Bubble
talking
wrap?
about. It's like the wrapping, the bubble wrap stuff, right? It's
no,
like
it's
a white.
package on just the package, the box.
yeah. Oh,
They put a lot of boxes, empty boxes, and you hit on there.
cardboard boxes. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
And I was worried about that move, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it is.
Okay.
Which is very what a move is very bad is an full Nelson suplex, dragon suplex.
Ooh.
That's the and
Yeah,
then the flip over.
that's very tough on your neck. That's very hard.
Ugh.
And if the guy doesn't know how to do it, then it's even worse. Yeah, and all kind of drivers, straight to the neck.
Neck.
They're all bad.
Yep.
They're not good. I mean, I saw very bad things happen.
Yeah, the tiger drivers and like anything where it's like the back, well, like a German or anything like that. I feel like it
German's
tend
actually
to like
pretty
screw up.
safe. German can
Okay.
be pretty safe, yeah. I mean, you just have to bridge very good, and the other guy doesn't land on his neck. He lands mainly on his upper back. That's fine.
Hmm.
But just on the neck, it's really bad. And that's another thing. A lot of guys in the business, they forget they're gonna get older someday. And if they take so stupid, really dangerous bumps without taking care of their body, they're not able to walk when they're in my age. So you can take those really high risk moves, but make them worth something. Save them for certain spots and not do them all the time.
Was that something that your father taught you, or was that something that you learned just growing up in the business at 18? Like not taking so many crazy bumps to your body.
Well, my dad told me a lot about stuff like that,
Okay.
but also my experience. But um, yeah, well, the thing is, like I said before, you have to, as a person, you have to look at your life and say, okay, I know I'm gonna have so many bumps in my body, and one day I take my last bump, and that's it. And some people have 10,000 bumps in their body, and some people just have 5,000 bumps in their body. And after that, after wrestling, you still will have a life. So then you have to think about, hey, do I want to be able to still feel good and whatever, run around with my kids or stuff, whatever, or do I want to be in a wheelchair?
Hmm.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, wrestling is an impact sport, and fame is nice, money is good, but my dad always told me there's a time where you're gonna make a lot of money, and there will be a time where you don't make a lot of money. So you have to save, and that time where you make a lot of money, you have to, for that time when you don't have any money. And the same is with your body. I mean, if you kill your body at the age of 20, 25, then your life gonna be really the shits when you're 50.
That's such a fact.
Yeah,
That's
man.
a
It's
fact,
facts.
man.
But I don't want to be depressed. I mean, that's just
No,
every
It's real. It's real
real life.
because if any upcoming wrestlers seeing this and they're hearing that, they'll be like, "Man, you're so right, Alex. Right, man."
Well, the thing I see a lot of stuff on Instagram on those reels, you say,
Yeah, real.
Yeah, reels. Yeah.
and I see they're so stupid. I mean, there's a guy, he's probably 350 pounds, and he power bombs a guy like 30 times, and that guy is just like this. It looks like he kills that guy almost. And then I ask myself, for what? Maybe 20 spectators in that sport arena, and makes no money, and he has like 50 concussions from that thing. I mean, that's stupid.
Very dumb.
So
Very
if
dumb.
for all the guys out there, for you young guys who watch that now, if you are talented, do just save stuff in the indie scene, so you make it to the big scene where the big companies are, and then you can show all that crazy stuff if you want. Then at least you make money from it.
And you're making money from
Don't jump from any house roofs and stuff like that. I mean, I've seen so much stupid stuff. That's ridiculous.
That is crazy.
it. My last thing is where do you see new European Championship Wrestling in the next 5 years?
Um, well, I received a lot of stuff was I received my goals with that company already because we were producing for TV over here and stuff like that. I we were
Oh,
producing for Fightbox HD and stuff like that. So we did a little TV stuff. I had my own production arena with two rings in it and entranceway and all that stuff. So
nice.
I did all that, and it was a lot of fun. But every part of your life has its time, and right now I want to go with my company more on the road because that was a fixed place, and now I want to travel like the country and all that stuff. And yeah, I hope to help the sport over here that it gets an even much better standing than it has now, and that our fan base grows. Right now we have about 1,500 spectators, sometimes a little bit more at each show. So that would be nice to grow and get more territories. That's fine. But I don't have to produce for TV anymore. That's too stressful. I
Mm,
mean, if somebody wants to cooperate with me and do that part, that's fine. But I just want to have shows, regular house shows.
Mm.
They're much more fun than producing TV.
bro, if we were in Germany, we would produce that for you. I kid you.
ASAP.
I kid you not. I kid you
ASAP.
not. We would go link up with you today, and we would figure out how we can produce that for you. It would not be an
Okay.
issue.
Yeah. On
But
the road all
but
the time.
but who knows? Maybe we can figure out how we can bring the new European wrestling to Canada, and maybe we
Oh,
find
good.
some sort of collab, and
Through Supreme Genes Entertainment, right?
Good. Good. Yeah, if you have some ideas, just write me. Yeah.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. I'll make sure you
definitely.
guys connect. I'll make sure Fury. I'll make sure you guys connect, and you guys,
Okay.
you know what I mean.
yeah, and for real, anything that you have going on, I know you're probably a busy guy, but even if we see any events or anything that you have going on, we'll promote it on our side, and who knows if we can get one Canadian to come to one of your shows.
Thank you very much.
That's all we want to
Appreciate
do,
that.
man. And again, Alex, thank you so much for this time, man. Like again, like you were saying earlier, like you are like a professional wrestling legend out here. Like people
Thank
to
you.
this day, we still see people interviewing you, right? And it's like just
Thank
like you
you.
said, it's not about like the higher ups or how many championships have you won. It's the entertainment, and you were one of the guys that entertained us. Like
Yeah, thank
we
you.
were on TV seeing, yo, is that German guy gonna come on and bust the dance? Like that's all we really like. We cared for those moments, man. So again, thank you, thank you,
Bam,
thank
badam,
you.
badam, bam, badam, badam, bam, badam, badam, bam, badam, badam, bam, badam, badam,
Hey,
bam, badam,
can
badam.
you still do
You
the
had the
dance? No,
crowd
no.
going wild. I
Of course.
remember the crowd would go wild.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, I
No.
really appreciate that. And yeah, for my fans in Canada. Achtung, Achtung! Hier ist Alex Wright!
Ah, Alex right on the Man Dem show, man. Hold on, Vegas? Can you play the theme song for us really quick?
Yeah, yeah. Let's do it. Let's
Outro
do
with
it. Let's do
Alex
it. Let's
Wright's
do
theme music.
it.
Hold on. I can't hold me on my seat then. No.
Alex Wright, man. This has been,
I'm
man. What
telling
a
you, me and my friends used to wrestle at like elementary school. This is like 93, like 90, no, like in the 90s, man. And like we used to wrestle in a big field. And all we're doing, one of my friends, Hollywood would come out and dance just like you. And man, he was a big fan. He's gonna be so crazy. He's gonna be
yeah. He's gonna love it.
yo, he's gonna love this interview, man.
So the secret of the dance is to be very, very flexible in your hip.
Yep.
Yeah.
You have to know how to work the hips, man.
Listen. We're coming for a tutorial. When we're gonna come to Germany, and you got to give us a tutorial.
Okay. Okay. Good. I will do that.
All
That's
right.
it.
Let's close out with it. Hey, hey.
Oh my God.
We still have that jacket. We still have the jacket.
Of course I got that jacket.
Hey,
I thought
hey.
Look at all the women around us.
I got that.
Woo!
Hey,
You was driving the women wild with us.
oh, woo, watch this guy. Woo, look at
No,
it.
it's business, man.
Hey, hey, hey.
Yeah. He was business, man. he had a better neck breaker than Rick Rude.
Well, no. You know, legendary. Legendary. All right, man. All right, man. It's too much.
That's crazy. No, that's blessed, man. But yeah, we're gonna
What
we're
what
gonna.
what happened, what happened to that guy? Yeah, everything.
That's dope.
You must have got yo.
I got the jacket and all that stuff, but it doesn't fit anymore.
You were so cool, man. Still
Nah, you
cool.
cool. Yeah, so cool, man. Thank you again, once again, for your time. We will definitely keep in contact.
Yeah.
This is your boy Vegas.
It's your boy Gutsy.
Thank you guys. You have a
Lord
good night.
Fury, Alex Wright, you're the man.
Yeah.
Salute.
Thank you very much, guys. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bless, bless.